Hola, and welcome to Spain Impossible. This is Fat Loss After 50, the vodcast, and this is going to be like step 0.5. So we're going to talk what the blueprint is all about. I'm going to share a little bit about me. I'm going to talk about starting slow, and we're going to talk about introducing exercise, and stick around to the end because we're going to talk about the most important part right after this. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I am your host, Jim. I've got to put up the little disclaimer right in here. You know, I am not a doctor. I'm not a health professional, blah, 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 blah. I'm just a guy. Hold on. You're going to want to follow this whole thing. So let's take a moment and subscribe right now. Give the old thumbs up right now. And that'll help this YouTube algorithm send this out to more people. So, what's the blueprint all about? The blueprint is all about the food and the exercise and the combination of changing your lifestyle, not a diet, not an exercise regimen. It's changing your lifestyle so that you can lose the weight, you can be in better overall health, heart, mind, everything, and it's all about being fed up with not only the standard American diet, but how healthcare treats overweight people in this society here in the United States. I don't know if you know this, but your primary physician, the average doctor, has a day or two in all of their medical training that covers nutrition. A day or two. And then they sit there and they try and advise you on how to lose weight. So there are some people out there that I absolutely follow, and there's very good reasons for why I follow them. I'm going to link them in the description because they both have YouTube channels. As I come across other people that I believe might be helpful, I will also list them. But there are so many people out there on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all these people that are like, oh, don't eat this, don't eat that. This is horrible for you. This is that. Listen to me because I took one little sentence out of a 300-page, document of an experiment. And I'm going to take that one sentence, push it out of context and say, don't ever touch this. So the people that I have found that I can honestly say I get good value from is number one, Dr. Joey Munoz. It's Munoz. He has an Instagram. He also has a YouTube. I'm going to link the YouTube down here. Now, why do I like him? He has a PhD in nutrition science. So not only is he a doctor, his whole doctorate was based around nutritional sciences. This guy might know a thing or two about food and what it does in the body. So another one that I like to follow is Dr. Idz. And I'm going to have to look and see if he's got a YouTube channel. He's definitely got an Instagram. I will put some way of you following him. But he likes to debunk all of these things that people are talking about on Facebook. And not Facebook. What am I thinking of? Instagram, TikTok, those types of things. All these guys that are out there going, And all they're doing is bringing scare tactics to drive their numbers up and their viewership and all those other things. So Dr. Idz is great. It's IDZ, I believe. And he debunks this stuff, and he gives you the real science using real scientific evidence from clinical trials. So he's a good one to look at. The other one I follow, I don't always agree with, but he has a lot of good information for the most part. Now, in this day and age, you should know that before you do anything, you should do a little of your own research before you start believing this is the next great thing, or whatever. But that person is Dr. Livingood, and he actually has some good exercises. Once you get past that initial starting slow and you want to work in some other exercises, Dr. Livingood has a lot of those. I don't disagree with a lot of what he says. I'm kind of put off by his coffee thing, but that's because for me, the blueprint includes removing coffee and using only tea. And he does talk a little bit about tea, but nothing in specific other than some, benefits of green tea and things like that. So the teas definitely help. That's why, if you haven't seen the tea video, go find the tea video. It's one of the earliest videos on this particular podcast. I changed the title of it so it does say Fat Loss After 50. Now, the steps in this program are going to be some longer videos as I talk about these different aspects of what is entailed in the blueprint. And I will be walking you through, breakfasts, lunch, dinners, how I set things up, how I use the tracking sheet. If you haven't gotten the tracking sheet yet, get over to SpainImpossible.com under the health. It's right there on the page, no email. It's a free download. Print it off, make yourself a little binder. It's a full week of tracking, so it's a little bit, you got to write a little small, but I should be able to include, a picture of it, maybe up over here or something like that, as I've actually got it filled out. So I'm going to take a second, and everything's going to change a little bit because I'm going to cut away to a screen capture video that I took of my actual blood test results from the past couple of years. So let's cut that in right about here. Okay, so this is my blood work table for lipids. As you can see up here in the corner, April 16th, 2021 to October 28th, 2024. Now, April 16th, 2021 was when I was on the vegan diet, as well as April 29th, 2022. Now, if you remember from an earlier video, I talked about, my doc had talked about medicating me, and I was like, nope, give me 6 months. Okay, so April 16th was the 6 months. That was, hey, unfortunately, I don't have access to before that. For some reason, they changed it in the app. Anyways, what I do have is this is 6 months into a completely vegan diet. And as you can see, my total cholesterol, my LDL cholesterol, while it's high, it's not super high. It's only a little bit over. And you'll see as the vegan diet continued that not only did my total cholesterol drop, my LDL cholesterol dropped to a point where it was just a couple of milligrams high. Triglycerides stayed pretty much the same at a completely normal range, and my non-HDL cholesterol 6 months in was 142, a year and a half in was 125. So after that point in time, and this table's a little messed up down here. These are the same things. It's just got a normal range of 120, and this one doesn't have anything under the normal range. So these are the same measurements on the lower two lines. Now, May 18th, 2023, I had pretty much been done with the vegan diet. I was like, cool, I got my numbers down, everything's rock and roll, yada da da da. And I started going back to eating meats and eating cheese and putting things back into the diet. And as you can see on May 18th, my next year's physical of 2023, my total cholesterol was already on the rise, 165 to 201. LDL, the bad cholesterol, 102, 126. So it was going back up. My triglycerides were going back up. My non-HDL cholesterol was back up. So I didn't really do anything at that point in time. I didn't think too much about it. I was just kind of like, oh, I've had enough of the vegan diet. I'm just gonna maintain and do what I do. And unfortunately, that led me to becoming really sad. The standard American diet really sank in, especially in the latter part of this year from May 23 to May 2024. And as you can see, my cholesterol went a lot higher. My LDL was up again. My triglycerides were way up. This is what a year of eating the standard American diet did to my lipid panel. And my my non-HDL cholesterol was all the way up to 173 from 125. Now, after May 17th, 2024, it was actually in July, the end of July, if I remember correctly, it's July 22nd, 2024, was when I went a little crazy. My weight had peaked at almost 320 pounds. I was eating terrible. I was eating late at night. I was drinking way too much. I was in a bad place. And it reminded me of back during COVID before I went vegan. So I was like, all right, I'm going to throw all this stuff out the window. I'm going to hit it hard. I'm going to do what I got to do and blah, 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 blah. And it started off really bad for me because I was trying to cut calories way too low, trying to exercise too much. And through that process is where I discovered this blueprint that I am sharing with you. Now, I called my doctor on October 28th, 2024. So now remember, I started July 22nd. So this is basically my 100 days. And look what happened to my lipids. Back down to 171, almost even with a year and a half of being vegan. 104 for bad cholesterol, almost even with a year and a half of being vegan. And this is 100 days. Triglycerides from 235 to 134. A little bit higher than when I was vegan. But I have not, in June, just in a couple of weeks, I've got my next physical. So we'll be seeing what my numbers are from April 22nd of going back into the blueprint, or I'm sorry, April 13th, 2025 of going back into the blueprint and comparing them to these numbers. And I will do a video about that because I want you guys to understand what it is that I stumbled across. And my non-HDL cholesterol dropped to 128, just a couple of points higher than when I had been vegan for a year and a half. So in 100 days, I brought my numbers back down to what it took me to accomplish in a year and a half of being completely vegan. And this point in time in 2022, I still had not really gotten into the popular vegan stuff, like the stuff that they're selling now, Impossible Burgers and all the meat substitutes. I was strictly vegetables and fruits. So I was very, very strict when I was vegan as far as what I was putting in my mouth. Now, if we take a look, if I can get this next one up. This is my hemoglobin A1C. As a vegan, for a year and a half, look at my HbA1c. No difference. When I was really sad in 2024, they didn't do my HbA1c in the middle there. 5.6. On the blueprint, 5.0. 100 days of eating like this, and I end up lower than when I had been vegan for a year and a half. I'm telling you, I'm showing you my numbers because I want you to understand that what I stumbled across and how I'm eating now is completely different from anything I had ever done ever in my life. So I will just, it almost leaves me speechless that I came across this. All right, so that's the blood test results. So I am not an expert, but I can see from my own blood test results what I'm sharing with you makes a difference, and makes a difference in a big way. The blueprint worked better than the vegan diet, cutting out all meat, all cheese, all everything, just vegetables and fruits. So there are some things in my diet that people may scratch their head and go, I don't know. In this blueprint, man, you talk about things like what I have for breakfast every day. That's right. 3 eggs, 3 slices of bacon, and I started with 2 pieces of toast with guacamole on them. This is where I'm down to 1 piece of toast with guacamole on it. I also started with 4 slices of bacon, I'll be honest. I recently cut that down to 3. But I use about the same amount of guacamole for 1 slice of toast now that I would have for 2 before, because the important thing is healthy fats and fiber to keep you full. Remember, on the blueprint, the macros are protein, healthy fat, and fiber. Making good choices with those carbohydrates so that you're getting fiber to slow the digestion process, to make you feel full longer, not just getting some carbohydrates in there, because carbohydrates are necessary in the body, at least to a small extent, just like protein is and just like fat is, but let's make sure they're healthy fats. Coconut, avocado, olive, healthy fats. So starting slow. This is where we kind of get into what you got to get your mind wrapped around. Okay. So this is a marathon. This is a lifestyle change. This is not a diet to lose 20 pounds in 20 days and look great for the beach this summer. This is a lifestyle change. This is changing what you eat and what you do every day to provide you with a healthy, balanced diet and a proper amount of exercise so that you're not killing yourself, but you're not killing yourself. Okay, you're not killing yourself in the gym, and you're not killing yourself by sitting and never doing anything. So, just to clarify, in case you didn't get that. Anyways, we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. So, really, saying that it's a marathon, not a sprint, doesn't do it justice. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon followed by a triathlon, followed by an ultra marathon off-road trail running of 100 miles. It's a lifestyle change. In other words, it's something that you're going to do forever in order to remain healthy. And things change throughout the program. The blueprint is the basic food, exercise, those types of things. Now, as you lose weight, if you want to go out to dinner with friends, go ahead. Go out to dinner with friends once a month, twice a month. Be thoughtful about what it is that you have at the end of your fork. You know, don't go willy-nilly and think you can eat out every day. That's not what this is about. It's changing your lifestyle from wherever you are with food right now to doing specific foods, specific macros that you want to get in every day. And if you step outside those lines occasionally, it's okay. When you get to a healthy, maintainable weight where you want to be, where you're happy and healthy feeling at, then you can mix some of those other things in a little bit more than once or twice a month. But it's all about mindfulness. You know, that was the buzzword for the last, 8 years or whatever, being mindful when you're walking, being mindful when you're meditating, being mindful. Be mindful about what you're putting in your body. That's what the blueprint teaches you and hopefully forms a habit with well-worn grooves in your brain so that at some point in time, you'll be out to dinner with your friends and you'll be like, oh, this, and this. And they will fit the good macros, the things that you want to put in your body, and you didn't have to think about it. So understand, this is not a quick fix diet. This is, let's become healthy. I want to move to Spain. I want to be healthier than the people I'm going to be living next door to in Spain. And they all live on the Mediterranean diet, and they have a higher life expectancy than the US has. So I want to be healthier than them. I want to exercise every day, just as part of my day. And I don't mean 2, 3, 4 hours. I mean 30 minutes maybe in the morning, 30 minutes maybe in the afternoon. Going for walks, throwing in some yoga or some Pilates or some stretching or, things like that. So the first thing that you're going to discover through this is that we need to get the food right. Okay, we need to get you off the standard American diet, not necessarily into a Mediterranean diet or a blue zone diet or this diet or that diet. Definitely not carnivore, keto, any of those kinds of things that are hyper restrictive. So we're going to get the food right by using what I've mentioned before, the king, prince, pauper principle. Eat like a king at breakfast, eat like a prince for lunch, and eat like a pauper for dinner. And dinner should be, no matter what, you should stop eating 3 hours minimum before you hit the hay at night. I work 3 to 11s. I am done with my dinner at 7:15, and I go to bed at midnight. So I am 5 hours before bed. And that works wonders. Your body is done with all the processes and all of that stuff. And I'm not eating a huge dinner. My dinners tend to be a little bit more like tapas. If you know anything about Spain, you'll know about tapas. I might have a handful of cashews. I love cashews. I'll have a little dish of olives because I love olives. I'll have, 3 or 4 of the ultra thin slices of sliced cheese. I'll have maybe a couple of pieces, small pieces of beef jerky. Things like that are what I do for dinner. Getting the protein, the healthy fats, and the fiber. And a lot of times I'll go, it's ultra processed. I'm just warning you. A lot of times I'll have a can of V8 with my dinner. Now, why do I do that? Because it's got fiber and it's a good way to squeeze in 2.5 servings of vegetables in addition to everything else that I'm putting into my body on a daily basis. So Eat like a king at breakfast. Eat like a prince at lunch. So a little bit lighter, but still a filling, fiber-filled, healthy fat, protein meal. And then a popper at night. Light things, still protein, fiber, healthy fats, and small amount, and be done at least 3 hours before you go to bed. Now, also on the topic of starting slow, when we're starting slow, all you're going to start off doing is taking walks 3 to 4 times a week. You're going to walk whatever you think you're capable of. 5 minutes out from the house, 5 minutes back. You don't want to overtax yourself in the beginning because it will knock you out of the program. You'll be like, oh, I can't do this. So, or maybe you can do it as a step goal. I'm going to walk 1,000 steps out and 1,000 steps back. You know, if you don't have Google Fit on your phone, if you're Android, get it on your phone so you can track your steps. Apple, I'm sure, I'm not an Apple guy, so I have no idea, but I'm sure they have the same type of app where it tracks your steps throughout the day. And you can go ahead when you're ready for your walk, start your activity of walking, let it time you. It gives you a pace. It gives you how far you actually went. Start slow. If you work in an office, get up a couple of times a day and take a couple of laps around the cubicles in your area or whatever you can do just to move a little more than you typically would on your workday. Now, you can also add in some stretching, especially for your legs. When you're walking, you're probably going to get a little bit stiff the first couple of walks. But when you're walking, we're not going miles and miles and miles and miles. We want to start off slow. And then whatever point you're starting at, the next time you go for your walk, try and add 10 or 15 feet and then turn around and go back to the house. And then, you know, if that feels a little uncomfortable by the time you get back to your house, maybe stay at that for, 3 walks, 4 walks, 5 walks. Allow your body to get used to it and then add another 10 or 15 feet. We're not going for 4-mile walks on the first day. We're starting slow so that we build the habit of exercise. And once you reach whatever your time limit is for your exercise for a given day, which, say a half an hour, just an example, say 30 minutes is your time limit. When you're walking a few weeks down the road and you're reaching 30 minutes, well, what do you do then? Well, pick up the pace a little bit. Maybe get a little faster walk in so you get just a little bit further in those 30 minutes. Maybe add some arm movements, maybe carry some weights with you, use a weighted backpack. There's lots of things that you can add as you keep going. So you don't have to go, oh, I was exercising 10 minutes. Now I'm exercising 30 minutes. Next step, I'm going to be exercising an hour. We don't want that. We want you to start slow and work up to a point where you have time in your schedule. And then once you reach that time limit, that's when you start needing to increase the intensity of what's happening. And we'll cover a lot more of that stuff throughout the course of the program and the later parts and later steps of the blueprint. So add in some stretching. If you like yoga, go for it. Yoga, Pilates, fidgeting. Did you know that if you're a knee bouncer like me or a leg bouncer, when you're sitting, that actually burns passive calories in your body. So fidget your legs off if you want to. Fidget with your hands, fidget with your arms, whatever. Another great thing that would require a small investment, not to me, but to purchase, is rebounding. That's those little trampolines, individual trampolines, and I will go over the health benefits of rebounding in one of the future videos, but it's something that you can add in along the way because of all the great benefits of just bouncing up and down. Just bouncing up and down. It doesn't have to be super high intensity, and you can find videos on YouTube that give you workouts for rebounding if you want to make it into a workout. but just the bouncing up and down does great things, and we'll cover that in the future. But just don't go crazy. It is an ultra marathon after a triathlon, after a regular marathon. It's not a sprint. You have a lot of weight to lose. It took you years to put on all this weight. It's not going to come off if you hit the gym twice a day, 6 times a week, and burn yourself out in 3 days and never go back and give up on everything. Where's that going to leave you? Right where you are today, and maybe with an extra 10 or 15 pounds in the future. So start slow. Now, what's the most important part of this whole thing? What did I give you at the beginning? I said stick around to the end, because it's probably the most important part of this blueprint. And it's going to sound a little cliche, but you have to know why you want to do this. You have to know what it is. Is it your grandchildren? Is it wanting to live longer? Is it just tired of being fat and sick and tired? What is it? Why are you wanting to follow the blueprint? And whatever that why is, keep it in sight. Put it in Post-it notes on your desk. Write it in lipstick on the mirror. Whatever it takes, so that when you feel like giving up, or you feel like maybe you should have that Twinkie or that fudge round or that Nutter Butter bar or that Payday bar or that Snickers or whatever it is, swinging through the drive-thru to get a double Big Mac, whatever it is. When you have those feelings, make sure that why is there. So start with why. Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to live a healthier life? Why do you want to change your whole lifestyle from the standard American diet, which is so sad, to a healthier way of looking at food, and a healthier way of every day having the habit of keeping your body moving at least some? Because at some point in time, you work your way up, and 7 days a week, you have 30 minutes of exercise. Just so your heart's in good condition, your blood flows in good condition, your joints are in better condition. Move it or lose it. That's what they say, right? Move it or lose it. So the blueprint comes down to changing the way we think about what's at the end of our fork, without going extreme. Most people, when they look at my breakfast that I have every day, and they go, "You have 3 eggs, 3 bacon, and a piece of toast with guacamole on it?" Yes, I do. You know what? Eggs are good for you. Bacon's so-so. The toast, the bread, I will be doing all that stuff. That particular bread is really good for you. The guacamole is really good for you. So, but it makes everything so much easier. My favorite breakfast to have my entire life is eggs, bacon, and toast. So I start my day with the thing that I love to start my day with. Now, usually before it was white toast with peanut butter or butter and jelly on it, which is no good. Now it's a nice, healthy Dave's Killer bread with guacamole on it. But it's part of what makes this doable. We don't have bad foods in the blueprint. You have smart choices to make, because there's no bad food. There's no inherently bad food. Stay away from ultra processed. But you know what? If you go to a birthday party and what they're serving is ultra processed and, you know, you have a little piece of cake afterwards, it's okay, because tomorrow, you know, it's, to start off, it's kind of the 100% rule, but then as the weight comes off and as you get more in habit of thinking about what you're shoving in here in your pie hole, then it becomes more of the 80-20. 80% of the time, I'm eating rock solid. I am doing the things that I need to do. I'm getting exercise. So occasionally, maybe not full 20%, but occasionally, you know, you're on a road trip with the wife and the kids, and, you know, everybody's hungry. So you swing through one of those fast food restaurants, and you know the food's not good for you, but it's only one meal out of how many? 21 in a week? 80 something, 84 in a month. You know, we're talking 3 meals a day. So it's only one meal, but it was an extenuating circumstance. But the rest of the time, you're eating the things that you should be eating, and you're consciously making decisions, not just reaching for something in the cupboard. And, you know, here's a tip for all those of you that are married out here. My wife doesn't eat this way. I do all of my stuff for me. I make all of my meals. I make all of my food. And in my cupboard, there are Little Debbie's for my wife's lunches and my son's lunches. In my cupboard, in my freezer, there are drumsticks and popsicles and ice creams and things for grandkids and my son and my wife to have. But I don't touch those things, because I'm doing what I need to do for me to finally, for the first time in my life, be healthy and eat food that my body needs and give my body the exercise that it needs. So I hope you found value in this today. Like I said, these step videos are going to be a little bit longer, and I tend to ramble on. I am kind of an old crazy coot, in case you haven't noticed. But I hope you got value from this today. And remember, the blueprint, all the resources on SpainImpossible.com, completely free. Fully accessible here on YouTube. I'm not going to sell you my program. I'm not going to do a webinar and go at the end of it, by the way, here's, you know, if you want to pay $1,000, here's this new program that's shiny and new, that's better than the original. I will just update, because I think you need this. I needed this. I stumbled into this, and I showed you my blood work numbers. Better and faster results than when I went vegan for 2 years. So if you found value from this, if you're following this program, you know, comment, subscribe, like, help this get out to somebody who may desperately need it. And if you really got value from this, I do have a buy me a coffee. And in lieu of charging anything for this course or any of the resources, even as much as an email address, you don't have to put in an email address on the website. You just download the resources. They're there for nothing. Buy me a coffee. Say, hey, here's $10, here's $20. Thank you. I found value in this. I enjoy the fact that you're doing this to help people out. And it's the same stuff with the debt stuff and the moving to Spain stuff. All of the resources I come across will be on the website, 100% free. All of my videos are going to remain 100% free. So you guys can help me keep them 100% free simply by buying a coffee. Not a monthly subscription, none of that kind of stuff. I hope you found value from this, and I hope it helps. Come along for the journey. It's going to be one hell of a journey. I'll see you guys on the next one.